Mumbo Jumbo has been rapidly aging at an unusual rate. By trying to figure out why, it led me to uncover something big. The inevitable end of Hermitcraft Season 10. But before we get carried away, we need to start at the beginning. Season 10 started somewhat normally.
Right. Hello, welcome to Hermitcraft Season 10. It's really good to have you all here.
Or as normal as it could be. Look, Mumbo, just make a normal base for once.
It is time to bust.
Everything seemed normal at first, all the way until... Viewing this episode might be normal at first, but it is far from it, because at around 7 minutes into the video, although subtle, but Mumbo's eyes did seem to blacken a bit, signifying to us the first change in Mumbo's appearance, and we could take another closer look into his skin later on in the video, showing the first white streak in his head. So, why did such a thing really happen exactly? Well, the only piece of evidence we have so far is that this episode introduces the laboratory of Magic Mountain Row, which is run by a group of scientists called the Mind. Their main objective is to cure aging? There's a bunch of yap, and then we're striving toward longevity and the preservation of the life experience. Everything can be stored, everything can be preserved, nothing will be lost. We will be moving forward into human trials shortly. Soon, we will be living forever. Kinda interesting, since this kinda lines up with what's happening to Mumbo. Something I've also noticed with the lab that it used to have a lush wheat farm below it, but then it slowly became more and more intoxicated from the lab. I would like to imagine that this thing that they're pumping out is carbon oxide, which is harmful to humans and plants. Oxidized copper is incorporated a ton into Mumbo's build, so it wouldn't be that far-fetched to think that they are pumping out carbon oxide. And that might be our first evidence to what's happening to Mumbo. Then everything changed when... We start this episode with an amazing shot at the lab. So the scientist just got out of what seemed to be an elevator. He seemed to be in a bit of a rush to check something out. There are some villagers and chicken noises locked behind these doors, which is quite interesting. And probably the focal of this scene is that the mine got 100% mapped out. Which mine exactly? Why is it mapped out? So many questions, not a lot of answers. Yeah, I'm just as confused as you are, really. Maybe in the next few episodes we will get more context as we go along. Mumbo did age up several times as well within these two different episodes. The next important episode number... And finally, we see what the scientists are really working on. So, connecting the first scene with the second scene, we see that the Mind is a group of organizations trying to transfer consciousness from one species or entity to another. And they figured it out after mapping the brain, specifically the villager's brain. They could transport that to a chicken. So, I'm assuming the same villager and chicken we heard in episode 29 are using this experiment. Since the Mind mentioned that they want to experiment with a human soon. Are villagers technically humans? Okay, I'll just consider villagers a humanoid at least. Mumbo did age up a bit after that, but most importantly our final scene, which is an... In this scene, the scientist deposits what I think is the villager's body, which is kinda dark, but like sure. Mumbo later explains what the Mind has been up to recently.
I've been getting old.
And although it might confirm some of our beliefs so far, it doesn't really explain everything. Like why Mumbo is aging in the first place. Is it because of natural causes or is there something more to it? What does Grandpa has to do with the story? Yeah, Grandpa is getting introduced into the town. Mumbo explained how this is his dream home and how he wants to live in it forever. From submitting his consciousness into a chicken and planting that into a computer. Oh, and surprise, surprise, that computer is a Grombot, which is the third phase of Magic Mountain Row. So, let's recap a bit. The laboratory is run by a group of scientists called the Mind. Their main objective is to prolong human life. So we see them experiment with a humanoid creature to transfer their mind into a chicken. Chickens are portrayed in a way that imply they live forever. Mumbo later tells us that his main objective is that he wants the mind to transfer his consciousness to a chicken and place that chicken in Grombo, the fourth installation, so he can live forever. By the way, I would like to draw attention to one more thing. Grombot version 4 is both built from Big Ron's redstone shop, and at the same time is powering the city, which is making me believe that Grumbot has always been planned to make an appearance after the residents have their shops and houses. I believe Mumbo Jumbo is in fact not aging from natural causes, mainly because if he was, we would have seen other hermits aging as well, which is not the case. I think the key in figuring out why Mumbo is aging in the first place is to focus a bit more on what he's been up to in his base. Mumbo's base, otherwise known as Magic Mountain Row, has had its fair share of buildings popping up, but the laboratory has always stood out to me. Each building in the base has a purpose in terms of storage facilities for Mumbo's different items, except for the mine. The mine acts as its own entity, and most importantly, it pollutes the area and its residents. The mine's objective might be to prolong life, but in doing so, they started to affect its inhabitants, and probably make them age up as well. The substance that the lab is producing is dangerous, and has been one of the reasons to why Mumbo Jumbo has been aging up. Yeah, Mumbo did build this base, so he did technically touch all of these sweet substances. When Mumbo realized that he's aging up, he immediately contacted the mine, which made them start work on human subjects, aka villagers. Mumbo Jumbo is scared for his life to end, which is understandable to be fair. So he's doing everything in his power to stay alive. Building the fourth installation of Grumbot is no coincidence either, although it might seem a bit selfish that Mumbo wants to stay in season 10 and presumably trapping everyone in it. We're missing a key aspect in this: the influencer, Grumbot. Grumbot has terrorized all Hermitcraft season that he has been a part of, don't believe me? Well, in season 7, Grumbot version 1 wasn't really out to get anyone, but in reality, if Grumbot knew Mumbo wasn't elected as mayor, then who knows what would have happened to the server. And Green knew this, which is why Green built an entire world around Grumbot just to make sure it doesn't do anything bad. Meanwhile, in season 9, Grumbot version 2 has forced all hermits to go into another universe. If you remember, in season 9, Mumbo was one of the only hermits that didn't go into the Empire SMP. Grumbot obviously knew this, and again in season 9 of Hermitcraft, Grumbot version 3, otherwise known as Emperor Grumbot, yeah, kinda ominous, I know, when it realized Mumbo isn't in that world, it wanted to destroy everything and everyone in that world. So it won't be that far-fetched to think that Grumbot version 4 won't turn out to be like the other Grumbots we have encountered so far. Grumbot has always had one objective, which is to provide to Mumbo, and in doing so, Grumbot realized that in order to keep Mumbo for itself and please him forever, it sets off a plan in order for him to age up somehow so they could fuse into one single being. Because the Grumbot will trap Mumbo Jumbo, it will single-handedly keep all hermits trapped in season 10 until they free Mumbo Jumbo, so they can escape that reality into season 11. Mumbo is aging up for some reason, either because of his environment, the lab, Grumbot, or all of these three combined, and Grumbot is taking full advantage of this. So after Mumbo becomes a chicken, they can fuse into one single being. Once they fuse, it will trap Mumbo in season 10 forever until Grumbot is defeated once and for all. The real villain in this story is a Grumbot. It is the last step in Mumbo's base to be built for it to take over the Hermitcraft server. But with that all being said, that's just a theory, a Hermitcraft theory.